All right, welcome. Day 3. Kind of feels like we've been doing this for weeks because I feel like I'm just like so in the energy of like, I feel like I'm always talking about it. And then also I'm like, okay, we're only here at day 3. There's still so much to cover.
Because we have our podcast series going too.
Yeah, it's true. So on our podcast, we talk about the frequency of wealth, different conversations than what's happening on here. And if you are not subscribed or haven't listened yet, those episodes are released every day at 10 a.m. And then on the back of them, they're little mini-sodes that Kayla and I have been doing. So they're about 10, 15 minutes long. And then after each one on Monday, Tuesday, today, you'll hear a testimonial from a Line CEO member. So new testimonials that we've been chatting with women, and they're really awesome. So go check those out if you haven't already. We're Nicole and Kayla. We've created My Aligned Purpose. We just celebrated our 4th birthday for anybody who's new, whether you're new here today or new on the replay. And the brief backstory is we'll make it briefer, less brief or more brief each day. Is that Yeah, shorter each day, is that I was a high school teacher and a yoga instructor, and I waitressed and did all those sorts of fun things for most of my adult life. And Kayla, you had your fundraising background, and then so many different businesses that you had a lot of success with so many different entrepreneurial endeavors. And then we found one another. It was truly a match made in heaven. And then we started coaching one another, and then the long story short is we started My Aligned Purpose, and we've never looked back.
We're like, why are we doing this separately? We should be doing this together. Manifesting money. So our first course was Manifesting Money Masterclass. We still sell that. It's on our available offers page. And we just kept iterating from there. We did Manifesting Money Masterclass a couple of times. That started at $189. And then we did a 12-week, 9-week, I can't remember how long it was, mastermind. And then we opened our year-long coaching program in 2020 at the end of the year. And this is our 4th year of doing a year-long coaching program with people. So we have been running with the manifesting money theme since 2020, and we have no plans to put that down. We love manifesting money.
It's true. Yeah, it's absolutely true. All right. So the agenda for today, the plan for today. Oh, no worries, Danica. There'll be a replay. Always locked you out of the house. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. We'll send you the replay. Okay.
The agenda for today is we're going to have an open, honest, transparent conversation about how we manage our money of our business inside of My Aligned Purpose. Kayla's going to talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to have the conversation that's more like the hug and the kick in the ass at the same time of we get to treat our businesses like businesses. We get to treat our businesses seriously. And what is the mindset around that? So we're going to talk a little bit about that after we talk about how are we actually doing this money thing? And for those of you that are business owners, a way that you can approach having a profitable profit first business as well. So over to you, Kayla.
Okay, so I'm going to go through what we do and the different background that I have that helped me create how we manage money in My Aligned Purpose, what that could look like as a sole proprietor, what that could look like in a corporation, if that's what you have formed. And this is from a Canadian perspective, but it can be applied to a US perspective as well. It's just like the words are different. For example, in Canada, we talk about TFSAs, which are tax-free savings accounts. And then in the US, they have a different type of savings account. And that way, that gives you the benefits. We're not going to talk about that today, but just for example, there are different words in the US, but how you organize and treat your business is essentially the same. So I'm going to share that. And then we're going to get into the mindset piece. If you have questions as I'm sharing, you can either put your hand up or put them in the chat, and I will get to you. And I'm just going to do an overview. Now, I'm not an accountant and I'm not a lawyer, and I have had many businesses and I have made many hundreds of thousands into millions of dollars in businesses, as in like produced gross revenue at that amount, and been the bookkeeper, lead financial person, although we have an accountant, and I always recommend having an accountant to do the CRA filing and give you advice. I've been the person who manages the money day to day in all my businesses. So that's where I'm coming from. And I'm also coming from My Aligned Purpose has been a profit first business since day one. We have always paid ourselves every single month, and we have always managed our money in that we save for different things, and we put making sure that we get paid top priority. Okay. And I want that for you. And that's why we're just like opening the hood. I don't know, pulling back the curtain, whatever that looks, whatever analogy you want to use. That's what we're doing right now. So we'll get right into it. First things first, you and your business are two separate entities. And from now on, you're going to be treating them that way. And so if you will continue on. If your business explodes tomorrow and it doesn't exist anymore, you are still you. You still have your personal finances and your own responsibility for your money. And you can start another business and you can call it something different, or you can do whatever you need to do to make money. But do we see how, like, I can see a top bar view. Do we see how there are two different things? Your business and you, completely different. You contribute to your business, and then your business is going to pay you from now on. And we're going to set that up. So it's not like you're getting paid and it's going into a personal account. And then the end of the year, you're like, I don't know, I guess I have to pull out those statements and figure out how much I got paid and what I spent money on in my business. We're going to put that down and make it super, super, super easy for you to be able to manage your year end and manage your month-to-month finances. Because first things first, we are going to separate you from your business. So if you haven't done this yet, I'm just going to go through a quick checklist. This is what you're going to do. You're going to open a new email for your business. A Gmail. It doesn't have to be a G Suite, like, you know, how we have Kayla at myalignedpurpose.com connect. That's through G Suite. And it doesn't have to be that way. It can just be, we started with myalignedpurpose@gmail.com. We move all the money, all the business communications, everything through that. And we save all of our business information on that myalignedpurpose@gmail.com Google Drive. So I don't have any My Aligned Purpose stuff in my kaylalangevin@gmail.com email. It's separate. Can I get a emoji in the chat if you are fired up about separating it all? Okay, emoji on your screen is also amazing. I love a flame. You know I love a flame. Okay. Oh, party cone. Hello, other ones, please. We've got Renee flaming over here. Love it. Joanne, which emoji are you going to pick? Ah, yes. Nicole, always with your 100. I see what you did. Maylin, dancing. Okay. Yes, we have a personal email and we have a business email. And before, when Nicole and I shared myalignedpurpose@gmail.com, we just ran everything through there to do with the business. And I still maintained my Kayla Langevin at Gmail, and Nicole maintains her Nicole McClellan 2586 at Gmail as our personal stuff. Okay, so let me just see. Okay. I'm not going to hold my breath for everybody else's emojis, but I'm glad you're into it because you're still here. So we're separate. Now, in your Google Drive, you are going to open up a folder that's called Abundance. It's called Business, Money, Abundance, Cash Flow, fuck yeah, whatever you want to call it in your Google Drive. So you know you can call it Yays Coins. After Tony. And every time you do your bookkeeping, you pump Yays Coins first. Okay. Yes. Okay, so you're going to have your Google Drive folder that's all about money. In the Google Drive folder, you're going to have a year 2024. Sure. Have a folder that's called 24. And in there, you're going to have expenses and income in different folders. All of your receipts go in the expenses one. Take a picture. You're at a restaurant, you're eating, you're like, I'm going to write this off. Take a picture of the receipt. Make sure you take a picture of the whole receipt because we need a date, we need a tax information, we need the restaurant location, we need exactly what you bought itemized. Put it in the expenses folder. Name it something really obvious. Our naming convention is going to be the amount, what we bought, and the date that it's purchased. We keep it super simple, but it's really important to have patterns that you repeat over and over and over again so that you can find stuff, your accountant can find stuff, and your life is not an absolute shit show. Here we go. Do you organize by date or tax category? Well, this is a great question. The accountant, I think, would prefer by tax category, but so that we can figure out that we have all the receipts that we need, we do it by date. And I just kind of leave that sorting to them because really what the accountant needs is that they look through all your spending and your bank statements, and then they categorize them the way they categorize them. And that part is less important than making sure you have proof you bought that. So I have to, yeah, especially our expenses by month are like 100 expenses a month. So to manage to make sure we have all those receipts, I just like to see it by number because then I can cross-reference, oh, that Amazon spend was 1985, and then quickly look and see if we have a 1985 receipt in the folder. Because an Amazon receipt, I mean, there's going to be a few of them, and it's too, yeah, it's too complicated. Okay, stay calm about the spending. We're not there yet. We're about to go there. Okay, so we've got the expenses. They're getting funneled into this folder. And then the income folder, we give our accountant a printout of what we have on Stripe, like a PDF of it. You can export stuff from Stripe. You can export stuff from wherever. But every month to see how much money we've brought in, we export the Stripe amount. Well, I go through the bank account and put the line by line, but you could export the Stripe amount. You could go through your bank account, and I compare the income versus the expenses to get the net income. Now we're going to we'll get into managing your bank account in one sec, but we need to get into the question that everyone's thinking about. Should I be a sole proprietor forever, or should I have a corp? On and on. This question comes up every single time. And we have been coaching women in business for 4 years in Aligned CEO method, previously known as Platinum. And everybody always asks me this question. Now, there are a couple of reasons why you would switch to a corporation. One, if your liability is insane for some reason. Like when I had a butter churning company, we had a corporation because we were not churning butter in a lab. And I suppose you could get botulism from that, although we had it like pretty tightly controlled. And the cream wasn't sitting around collecting mold. And at the same time, I don't want that liability to be against my assets. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to have a corporation, talk to a lawyer about how to set up a corp with a high risk product. Also with that corporation, I had a business partner and we had separate bank accounts from our own personal ones. We had them over at Van City and we had a separate credit card. And so we mainly set it up because of liability. If we had a sole proprietorship where both of us were contributing, that would have been totally fine. We didn't really need a corporation for that especially because we didn't go all the way with butter. We decided that we weren't going to compete against Saputo and buy industrial churns because that would have been absolutely cuckoo bananas for us at the time. So we were like, okay, we're going to put down butter. And that was a corp. Another reason you would set up a corporation is because your income is high and it's affecting what amount of tax you're paying because of your take-home pay. And maybe you want to hold some income in the corporation and pay your income tax on a certain amount that comes out, as opposed to when you have a sole proprietorship, all the money that's coming in through your business is really like it's coming in as your personal income. And then your expenses come off that to bring it down. But let's say you're making $300,000 a year and you're a sole proprietor and you need $100,000 a year to live really comfortably. That $200,000, of course, you're going to pay like $100,000 of it in tax if you take it all at once. But the $200,000 could be in your corp. You can pay your T2 corporate tax on that. And then the income that you take out, you pay your income tax amount on the 100,000, which is like whatever, 35% or something like that. So it's different because it's a tax question at that point. It's either like a lot of liability, which ultimately is your personal liability anyway, but whatever, that's a whole other thing. So either you want to separate your business from yourself liability-wise, or you're making a lot of money and you need to switch it. you can set up a corporation at any time. There's no, like, if let's say you made 300,000 and you pay a lot of tax one year, you can set up a corporation the next year. That's fine. I mean, yay, we have great roads that we drive on and awesome schools. Personally, being the person who manages all of our finances for a corporation, you don't really want to get into that if you don't have to. And so delaying it is possible. If you want to manifest a big ass company by having a corporation, having it all set up, I also support you on that. It just depends like how much you want to pay your accountant, how much management you want to do. But when you have a corporation, you are literally counting every single penny to the cent that comes in and out of the corporation. Like every single thing has to be accounted for. Every line item on every bank statement, on every credit card, on every e-transfer, on like we went to the States and we took out cash for the States, and all of those receipts have to be accounted for, matched with the amount that came out of the bank account. Where did the extra money go? It was like $37. And I'm like, it went to Nicole because she goes to the US way more often than I do. And it's like, then that's part of Nicole's income and the accountant tracks it back to that. Like it is nuts how detail oriented you need to be when you have a corp. And that part, I just let the accountant deal with because I trust our accountant. And I'm like, yeah, do whatever magic you need to do to make this happen. Ask me any questions you have. And for us, it doesn't make sense not to have a corporation because we do everything together. So that's what makes sense for us. Okay, so as of right now, what I would say is definitely talk to your lawyer, definitely talk to your accountant mainly, and say, should I be a corporation? And they're going to say, ooh, delay as long as possible. And you can just listen to that. And that's cool. You can be a sole proprietor for a long time. And when your income gets huge or your liability gets uncomfortable, then you can move over to corp. You can also do other things to mitigate your liability, like having really good contracts with clients, like having really good terms of how you work with people laid out so there's no confusion. And that is talking to a lawyer, not an accountant, to make that happen. We have an incredible small business lawyer. Her name is Sheena Mitchell. She's out of Vancouver, and you can just Google her right now. They'll mail you everything. And she does this. She's a pro. I've used her in multiple corporations. I love working with her. I cannot recommend her highly enough. She files our annual corporate corporate reports. Like we have to meet and say we're having an AGM, and then she files those. They keep us on track over at Sheena Mitchell's office. And her assistant's name is Hermes, which I think is, very auspicious considering we're manifesting big money. Okay. Now I know it's kind of weird to talk on Zoom with no like responses happening, but the people I can see at the top, I enjoy your smiles. Okay. Next up, your business bank accounts. Be important. As you can imagine, this is exactly where this is going. If you funnel all of your money that you make into one bank account, and you're like, hi, it's me buying new shoes for my kids, and then maybe I'll get paid $2,000 tomorrow, and then maybe I'll do something else with it. It's total chaos. This is not what we're doing. You are yourself. You have your personal checking account. You have a personal savings account. You have a personal credit card. Next up, your business, your new business. You don't need to go set up a business checking account by any means. If you're a sole proprietor, just open another checking account in your main bank account. Like when I was Kayla Pilecki coaching, I had my personal checking account labeled like Pilecki Family Abundance, personal family one. Scott's money's going in there, my money's going in there. That's a whole other conversation, but that was like our personal account. Then I had Kayla coaching, my coaching account, and all the money that I made, I gave Stripe that account number, and Stripe puts the money in there. Now, we operate in multiple currencies in My Aligned Purpose, and so Stripe allows you to operate in 2 currencies easily. We have, this is kind of like a side note, but we have our Canadian checking account number when people pay in Canadian, please deposit it in this account. It's a setting in Stripe. It's super easy. And when people pay in US, please deposit it in this account. So we have our US funds going into a US account. We have our Canadian funds going into a Canadian account. Now, we don't do business in Canadian dollars, except for the fact that when we have a retreat in Canada and we're paying everything out in Canadian for that retreat, we usually make the ticket in Canadian. We have previously into Canadian dollars. So we have Stripe funneling money into different accounts. Okay, so you do that with your Stripe. Give your Stripe or your Square or PayPal or whatever, your business account number, and then you have your money from your business going into your checking account. Have a business savings account as well. And in the business savings account, it could be, you could label it like, I would say Kayla income tax savings. And then I would put my income tax savings in there. And you can ask your accountant. Yeah, PayPal's annoying to ask, but some people like it. Like lots of people use PayPal, but yes, we will get into PayPal. So you're going to ask your accountant, how much as a percentage of my income should I be saving for tax? Maybe your accountant would say 20%. So here's what you're going to do. At the end of the month, and I mean, 5 gold stars if you follow through on this, because this is how you're going to have a profit first business. The end of the month, you're going to look at your expenses on your business credit card. Open a business credit card. It doesn't have to be a business credit card. Just have another credit card for business. When I first started, I have my WestJet credit card that I use for my personal stuff. And I was like, Scott, give me your Avion card. I'm using this only for business stuff. And I just ran my sole proprietorship expenses through that Avion card because we didn't need it. I had 2 credit cards. So I used that one for business. And I put a little sticker thing on the back of it in my wallet that said for a business so that I would keep myself accountable to that. So then I look at all my expenses and I make sure I have my receipts at the end of the month. Then I look at my income and I take my income number for easy math. Let's say it's 10,000. And let's say I had $2,000 of expenses. So my income that I'm working with for personally as a sole proprietor is $8,000 that month. Then I'm going to take 20% of that and I'm going to save that into my Kayla income tax account. And then I know from there, I can save more for my business if I have something upcoming. I can make decisions and I can pay myself into my personal checking account over to like that 6,500 amount, whatever it is, to my personal checking account. And then I know I'm paying myself. I know how much money my business made. I know that I'm on track for a 6-figure year. I know I have income tax savings. Like all these things are now because you took 2 hours on the last Friday of the month to go through your expenses, collect your receipts, figure out how much money you made and pay yourself. All of this is now like any kind of swirling thoughts of what am I doing? Do I have enough money saved for tax? Oh my God, it's going to be a nightmare at tax time. That's all now just set down because you're taking care of it once a month. It feels so good. I mean, it feels very, oh my God, when it's happening. And I love it so much, especially at the end of the month when I'm clear on numbers and at the end of the year when the accountant asks me like 5 questions and then our year end is done. Taxes are way more exciting when you save for them. Then when it's lower than expected, you get a bonus. Yes, I mean, we always oversave for GST, and then I'm always feeling good about our little GST bump, our bonus of GST. And so in our business, and I guess, okay, and in our business, we figure out how much, this is like very technical and kind of unnecessary, but we figure out how it's necessary for us, not in the beginning. We figure out how much GST we pay and how much GST we collect. And then we take what we've collected and minus out what we pay, and that's how much we save for GST. And then when our accountant does the magic, they tell us what we have to pay on our GST bill. Because we're a service-based business in Canada, we collect GST and pay it on our services. Yes, a vacation from the GST bill. Okay, quick method. Yes. Okay. Now we're feeling empowered. Our business is now paying us. We are saving for taxes. We've taken into consideration GST, which is obviously ask your accountant. If I'm ever giving money advice, I want you to confirm it yourself. But once your business has made $30,000 overall, you need to start charging and collecting GST in Canada. HST as well. And then with PST, we don't collect PST because we're a service-based business. you need to talk to your accountant about what's appropriate. If your accountant doesn't know how much tax you need to be collecting from clients because they don't know how to deal with your business model, you have the wrong accountant. You need someone who can confidently say, yes, this is what you're doing, and no, that's not what you're doing. And yes, we have been there, and we found out by me being like, oh no, this is not it. And we have moved through 3 accountants since being together, Nicole and I, and now our accountant is super confident, really low vibe, not vibe, really low key. He doesn't freak out about stuff, and really consistent, and knows our deadlines and helps us meet them and answers my questions, and is confident about, he does small business accounting. So he's confident about supporting us in our business model. But our first accountant ever was a recommendation. I didn't know anybody on the island, and somebody recommended her, and she's great, but she doesn't do online. And that's our whole thing. So we need an online business person. So then we got an online business person, and she was working on scaling her business and not necessarily servicing clients. So as we were getting outsourced and they weren't answering questions properly. And when I know more than the accountant, then that's not I'm not like, I don't want to be paying you to tell it. I don't want to pay you so I can tell you the right way to do things, because I need someone who's taking our business seriously. Yeah, Dad Wong. He's so great. And I know that in Align CEO, people have other great accountants that they love too. And if you're on this call and you're really confident about your accountant knowing how to work with people in online business and is good to women, takes us seriously, knows that we can make a lot of money and doesn't mansplain things, then please drop them in the chat as well. Okay, so we use our credit card to pay for most expenses. We have a Canadian card and a US card, and we pay for US expenses on the US card and Canadian expenses on the Canadian card. And at the end of the month, I pay the cards, I move stuff into the tax accounts, I figure out what we each get, and I split it up and pay us. And I have a spreadsheet, but it's kind of complicated and hard to share because I designed it exactly for me. But you can ask your accountant or your bookkeeper or someone to help you with a method that you can put your information in, which is oftentimes just income and then expenses equals what's next and how much are you saving for tax. And then you decide what to do with the rest of it. Okay, what did I miss? Thoughts?
Well, I think we can touch on why we don't love PayPal. Again, it's our own personal preference and experience, but PayPal does hold your money for an extended period of time. So, I was just on an Align CEO mastermind call this morning, and somebody was talking about how she works like contract work for a municipality, and they only pay her out every 3 months. And that is like, that's a no.
No.
And so we don't want PayPal also holding our money. And then also we have a very dear friend of ours who's in a very similar business to us, who hired an online business manager who was also in the PayPal back end and getting payments through PayPal and being paid through PayPal. And she wiped her bank account clean. And
because
never to be found again.
Her PayPal account, because PayPal is not regulated like a Canadian bank account or a US bank account. PayPal is, I'm sure they have lots of regulations around them, but they kind of operate in the online space and make their own rules. So for us, they hold our payments for 21 days, and then there's payment processing time on top of that. And I have sent them, there's also no one you can talk to. Whereas like you call RBC or whatever, Chase, Bank of America, and you are talking to someone. With PayPal, I have sent them every single piece of personal information to verify my account. I have sent them my mortgage. I've sent them our incorporation documents. I have sent them my driver's license. I've sent them my passport. I've sent them everything. And they're like, we cannot verify your identity. And I'm like, I'm not great with PayPal knowing every single thing about me and still holding money for what turns out to be about 28 days. So that's, we cannot operate, none of us, with these kinds of margins and working in a business that we're paying ourselves from and then feeding our family from, operate with this delay in PayPal. And cash flow in business is the most important thing. So with Stripe, yes, we pay an exorbitant amount of Stripe fees, and they transfer the money in 1 to 3 business days. It's super clear, and those fees are write off against your income. So yes, I would rather not pay Stripe fees. When Stripe goes public, I will be buying shares in Stripe. They must be so rich and like over there in the Stripe headquarters, like, we are so smart. Why did we think of this? Yes, yes, I'm sure. And they don't play games in the way that PayPal is playing games. Like Stripe asks for your SIN number and then you set up your account and that's it. I've never had to re-verify who I am in Stripe, and it doesn't go on and they transfer the money and it's always done properly in the various accounts. But we do have a PayPal account for affiliate stuff. Like we are Kajabi affiliates and we have a PayPal account for that. And so I just go in every month. I transfer it over as part of my checklist at the end of the month. And when it shows up, it shows up. And I'm grateful for any cash that comes in. And that's, I mean, the online business manager having the code to that person's PayPal and then taking all their money and vanishing. I mean, that happens hopefully not very often, but I'm like Nicole and I are the only people who know the Stripe password. We're the only people who have the business bank account information. We don't share that. I don't even give it to Scott. Like no one has that information because it's no one else's business and no one needs to know. No one needs to be in there. So that's our thing. We're the people who control that. And if I were just working on my own, I would be the only person to control that. I would give it to our accountant. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just some things. And like with Stripe, you're not like paying Stripe every month, regardless if you are making money or not. You're only paying them the percentage of what Stripe has processed for your business. So you can go get it set up. When we talk about, especially in Align Business School, where, you know, we start like quite foundational in Align Business School for people who have never had anything in the online space. And we talk about the basics and the fundamentals of getting your business set up. And we talk about making the move from e-transfer to Stripe is so much more available for it. It makes so much more available for you in terms of like taking your business seriously. It's documented, it's processed through the credit card, and then people can pay with their credit cards and you can receive payment through credit cards, and then it's tracked. And so it's like even making that first step of like, okay, I was doing things with e-transfers before, and we're not going to do that anymore. I'm going to treat my business like a business. You know, we would never be able to walk into Lululemon and say, can I just e-transfer you for these pants? Like that would be a hard no.
Yeah.
And also we want to, well, I'm actually going to say this. Are we moving into mindset, or you still have some things to cover?
I just have one thing to cover with e-transfer, and then I'm so excited to talk about the mindset piece of this because we get so many questions about how do you deal with a budget, and like, give me a wave if you're thinking about this. How do you deal with a budget if you don't know how much money you're going to make? Like, how do you figure this out and what to save and whatever, and what happens month to month if you can't predict how much money you're going to make? So we're going to deal with that because there is a way to be able to reliably predict that. And then I want to say with e-transfer, that screws up the reliable prediction because you're paying for a service every time. So I worked with someone who was helping me at my house, and every time she was here, I have to e-transfer her. And I would always forget the security question, or I'm doing a million things. And it was massively inconvenient for me and is wearing on my nerves. And then she went to, okay, I want to charge you. You still have to e-transfer me. If you don't e-transfer me, could you please get cash? And then you don't have to pay the tax part. And then I was just like, I can't, I just like have to go to the bank now, but maybe you still want to take e-transfer. It's your business. It's your service. You're doing this thing. If you were to charge me every 2 weeks on some sort of recurring payment, I'd never think about it again and you could stay forever. And now that this is a problem for me, it makes me think every single time I pay, do I really want this? Do I really want this? Do I really want this? And we're trying to reduce the friction. We're trying to reduce that. So now I actually have these excellent cleaners who come in. I love them. they do a good job cleaning. And my favorite part of it, other than the fact that they change your sheets as their bonus, which I think a bonus is like, anyway, my second favorite part of it is that I'm on recurring payments for them. So when they come in, they do the cleaning, they leave, they send me a text that says your card has been charged. And I'm like, great. I never think about it. They're never allowed to leave. I'm like, please help me. I'm over my head. I don't know if anyone saw my Instagram stories yesterday of running the gauntlet. This is like my daily life. I'm over my head and things to do. And if I don't have to think about going to the bank and getting you cash or e-transferring you and not knowing the security question or whatever, it's like 1,000 times better for me to want to keep working with you. So we're trying to do packages, not one-offs, and we're doing credit card payments, not e-transfers. Okay, that's the last thing I'm going to say.
I shared the cleaners because Kayla and I share everything or have the same thing, and I have the same house cleaners as well. Somebody refers something to Kayla and she passes it on to me and vice versa. And they're coming to my house on Friday. I can't wait. Yes, they'll do it all. You just tell them what you need and they're awesome.
Yeah. Change your sheets. And for as their like bonus for working with them, they change your sheets. It's like living in a hotel when they leave for 3 seconds before it all gets ruined, and it's the best.
And they always leave you a little monogrammed scrubber as well. Yeah. Okay.
They're the best. Okay. Windows, you can ask them to do it. Okay.
Let's dive into a little bit of mindset and like a loving kick in the ass for the last 20 minutes here. And to go off the thread of moving from e-transfer to Stripe. What we want for all of you is that you have such a big vision for your business that you could never imagine sitting down accepting and exchanging e-transfers all day, every day. That you're not chasing people every month for their e-transfers. That is a limited mindset in business. Like, let's just say that it is. Because if you're dreaming of having a really big business with lots of reoccurring payments, you want that to be a system. When we think about who, not how, or what, not how, that's a system. When you have reoccurring revenue that you don't have to think about. Now, we'll have people who their payments default because they switched their credit card or their credit card expired, or I don't know, maybe they maxed out their credit card this month or something. That happens to us, and it's very rare. I will say, out of the thousands of women that we've had buy stuff off us, and the majority of people who, especially in Line CEO method, most people opt for a monthly payment plan at that price point. It is very rare that somebody's payment bounces. So I know that sometimes people have that fear of like, oh, if I give a payment plan to somebody, like, what if I don't get the payment? Well, have a system in place. So, we have a template right away. Loren, our amazing team member, is here. Loren knows, just reach out to that person. Hey, what's going on? Do we need to change your card? Do we need to send you a separate link? Whatever it is. And it's always resolved. We're never left with people who are like, I'm not going to pay you. Like when you treat your business seriously, when you treat your business seriously, people will also take your business seriously. Sometimes it's just a mistake on somebody's part. They got a new card and forgot to say, and that's fine. And most people are really like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot to change my card. And so,
or I don't know how. And I'm like, that's okay. We have the exact instructions on how.
Yeah. And I know that in the past, we've coached people who are nervous to have payment plan options, like the reoccurring payment plan options, because of that fear of people defaulting. And I want to just offer to you, like, can we put that fear down? It's like walking around with an umbrella waiting for it to rain, not setting yourself up to treat your business seriously for the fear of what if somebody takes advantage of you. It's holding you back. So we want to treat our business like we're big business owners and we take our businesses seriously. Now, Kayla and I had the intention today to come in and talk about how you take your business seriously and how you take your finances seriously. And then I had some really interesting conversations in the last 24 hours with some people who were talking about the fear or the worry that comes up with the inconsistency in income when you are an entrepreneur. Like, oh, like I find it hard that it's inconsistent, right? Like some months I make lots of money and then some months I'm not making lots of money. And the months where I'm not making lots of money, I want to default and go apply for a job. I want to go on Indeed or job search or LinkedIn or whatever. And how do I, this is what I was asked, how do I not do that? How do I avoid that? How do I make sure that I'm not allowing myself to fall back to that place? And so the like tough love that I want to offer to everybody, I don't even know if it's tough love, it's just love, is that entrepreneurship is a choice. And it is a choice that we decide we either want to play this game, it's a game, and there are rules, and it's your game. It's your board game with your rules. It's not the next person's board game. You're not building a game with their rules. It's your game and your rules. And it's a game you're choosing to play. And if it feels like you absolutely do not love playing this game, nobody forces anybody to be an entrepreneur. You can go be an employee. But what I will almost guarantee for most people who have went into, I want to be an entrepreneur, it's because your soul wants that. It's because you actually don't want to work for somebody else. So when that fear starts to come up with, well, what do I do when the money's not consistent? And, and I've heard people say, I thought about going on LinkedIn or Indeed or whatever it is. If that will make your nervous system feel better, then please do that. Do what you need to do to make your nervous system feel better. And if you feel like it's kind of something that you're doing, but you're not really going to go get another job, I want you to think about the time that it takes to look for jobs, apply for jobs, interview for jobs, and train at a new job. And can I challenge you to say, with all of that time, if that's not what you really want and your nervous system doesn't really need it yet, can you take that time and effort and energy and say, what can I do to grow my own business right now? Now, are we in the belief that you need to be both feet in, all in your business? No. When Kayla and I first started My Aligned Purpose, I still taught yoga. We were still associate coaches for a little bit with somebody else, and I was still book coaching. I used to work with a publishing company. So I did all of those things in the beginning. And then we made a decision collectively to not have a plan B. We were like, what happens if we throw away plan B? And I threw away my teacher's license. Remember that, Kayla? I was so
Should I
scared.
renew? I was like, why? What are you going to
I
renew
was
for?
terrified. And I've shared this morning on a call with a group of people. I was terrified to give up that license because it was a safety net. Like, oh, if I need to sub, then I have that day. And what I just kept coming back to was I could sub and I could make the $130 or whatever you make a day. I can't even remember what it is anymore. I can do that for sure. And I can make the cash flow right now. And does that get me any closer towards my dream? No. Do I need to pay my bills right now? Yes. And so is there a magic formula that we can work where it's like you are paying your bills, you're building your dream, and you are staying steady and grounded? Staying steady and grounded in the like, what do you really want? If you really want to be an entrepreneur, it's not an easy game. It's not always going to be easy. It gets easier for sure as years go on. It feels so much easier now than it did a year ago, 2 years ago. And that's a part of like never giving up also. So it's a choice to be an entrepreneur, and it is a mindset. To be an entrepreneur is a mindset because there's a blessing and a curse to being an entrepreneur, a blessing and a curse to making your own schedule. Make my own schedule. This is fucking awesome. And then also, oh my God, days, hours, weeks have passed and I haven't done anything because I'm responsible for my schedule, right? So it's the mindset of I'm an entrepreneur. And the reason we call Aligned CEO Method is because we want everybody to put on that lens, that mindset of how would you approach your business differently if you treated it like you were the CEO? Like you were the founder, you were the owner of this thing. And so that is a mindset of like, okay, I have to make my own schedule. I get to make my own schedule. So they're like, the blessing is I get to, the curse is I have to. That's one part of it. And then the other piece to the entrepreneur mindset is the blessing is there's no cap on what I earn. The curse is I don't get paid unless I go out and make money. And that curse is real. It's a hard pill to swallow, especially in the beginning.
Mhm.
And when we say beginning, again, we're not talking 8 to 12 weeks. We're talking like 18 to 24 months.
Yeah, somebody asked me this morning, why is it a year commitment? Yeah, it's because in 3 months, listen to Christine Trainer's testimonial on the podcast from yesterday. She said it perfectly. She's like, 3 months, yeah, you can get results quickly. You can get them right away. But 3 months, do you know people who are also doing this? Yeah. 6 months, do you know people? Yeah, you're starting to make those deep connections and maybe business partnerships and maybe work together and maybe learn from other people. And after a year of the routine, of the commitment, of the coming back to your business day in, day out, you see progress and momentum. And that's just the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Nicole, who's here, Nicole was on the podcast on Monday, and
Well,
she,
stay tuned for her podcast. I'm encouraging her to use that voice of hers for good. I was listening. I was like, oh my God, your voice is amazing. Okay.
yeah, Nicole was on the podcast, and you were also speaking to like, what game are you playing? If you want to treat your business seriously, we have to invest in our business. So, whether that's coaching, whether that's, you know, putting money into writing a book or building a website or whatever it is, like if you're here to grow a $100,000 a year, a $300,000 a year, $1 million a year business, like that takes time, it takes investment, it takes energy, it takes a lot of you. And the biggest thing is it takes your belief, and it takes an unwavering belief, because there are going to be hard days and hard moments. And when it feels like freak out time because you feel like the money isn't there yet, there's a few opportunities of what to do. Okay, if having another job is the answer for you, then do that. But also know that then it takes away from what you can do in your own business. And again, these are all just choices. If saying, I want to go all in on this and I'm going to cold call 50 people today to get 5 clients to get the results that I want, like I'm not going to stop because I don't have a plan B, then do that. And if it's like, I'm not cut out for entrepreneurship, like this really isn't for me, I want to clock in, I want to clock out, and I'm happy with that, then that's a decision too. It's all a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that what not I think what I've seen, what I've experienced, and what we want to be here to support people with is money is one of the biggest contributors to fear, to stress, to nervous system deregulation. Absolutely. And I know that fear, and I know Kayla's known that fear, and I'm sure lots of us have felt that fear of like, I don't know where the money is going to come from. Like in my previous life, my line purpose, we've set ourselves up pretty good. But I know that fear, and I can relate to that fear. And what I know is that the only way to get better at that fear dissipating is to treat your money mindset the same way you treat brushing your teeth, washing your face, lifting weights at the gym, walking every day, if that's something you do for steps. Money mindset is a muscle. It's a part of our mind that we have to work on. And because it is related to either so much fear or so much joy, we have to know that if we don't actively work on it, we can fall into that fear state. But when we actively work on money mindset, and we have so many tools and resources to support women on daily money mindset.
The VIP bundle is from this week.
Yeah, exactly. And so yes. Okay, this is such a great question. Do we still work on our money mindset daily? I treat my overall mindset, and like I compartmentalize it to be a little bit of like body image mindset, money mindset, my mindset towards am I going to have a baby, mindset of business. So I have like the parts of my mind. Yes. And I work on them every day because this is and we had this conversation with a group of women in a mastermind a couple of months ago where somebody said, I keep feeling like when I get to the next level that then I won't have to do the money mindset anymore. Like at first I wanted to get to $3,000 a month and then I thought I would feel good. And then I wanted to get to $5,000 and then she was like, okay, and now I'm at like consistent $7,000 a month and I feel like I'm still kind of freaking out a little bit. And we're like, yeah, the money mindset can't go away. It's kind of like I walk every day and I love getting my steps in. And so I've got to this routine and I feel really fit. And now I'm going to stop walking. It's like we don't put down the things that make us feel good.
Okay, this is my once a week nerd out about money. I have my money hour. It's in the calendar, and I have this binder, Lucky Family Wealth Plan. And when I get really into something, I make a binder. That's how I know I'm serious times. And I have my monthly check-ins and commitments in here. I have my Quest Trade Holdings. I have my dividend plan. This last tab, it's at the back because you know how much I love taxes. Anyway, whatever. I have my tax payments. I have my upcoming tax payments, and I have the same binder for my aligned purpose. Has all our like corporate minutes and stuff, tax installments, GST information. I need it all. I guess actually getting a printer, I didn't have one in undergrad. I didn't have one when I did my coach training. I always just used my work printer at my 9 to 5. But then when I got a printer, I was like, this is my first printer of my life. And it's the best decision. Makes my nerd heart sing. I love having a printer. I print everything. Okay. So, this is Plucky Family Wealth Plan. My aligned purpose binder is behind me. And I keep track of things where I can tangibly see it. Because who else closes the lid of their laptop and you're just like, bye. I have no idea what's on there. And now it's gone and I don't care. But when I have it in front of me in hard copy, it helps me stay accountable to my goals. I have my 2024 list in front of me. And that's how I process things. So however you process things, I encourage you to apply that enthusiasm to what you think is important, which I hope is making money in your business. The other thing is all the time you're spending searching for jobs on LinkedIn. Let's say you're flipping out and you're like, I'm going to look for jobs. That's time you could be spending prospecting, creating content, offering things for free to people to see what really resonates and solving a problem with your business. And then you can monetize it. But if you're not solving a problem and you're not like attracting people who want the thing you have, then you can't sell it. So sometimes it does take the legwork, the groundwork to test things out and do things for free or do things as a trade or in exchange and really go all in like, this is it for me. It's possible for you. We know for sure it's possible for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole like treating your business like a business. And I see this conversation. I know we've got 2 minutes left. I see this conversation a lot in the network marketing world, MLM world, where people will say, like, yeah, you can get to the top when you treat your business like a business, for sure. And what we mean in our world by treating your business like a business is saying, okay, if there is, say, for example, Align CEO method is a method, it's do onboarding. And if you're feeling like, okay, I do the onboarding, I do the 30 days and you follow the 30 days and then you get to the next step and you're like, okay, you know what? I think I need to rinse and repeat this. Then it's going back to the onboarding. The best programs that Kayla and I have been a part of have had trainings and systems that we've self-led ourselves through. So we've decided like, okay, what is the method they are saying works and follow the method. But when it's like, well, I think I'll do this, but I'll kind of do it my way. But we recommend Kajabi for a reason. We know that Kajabi can house all these things and make things easier. Does everybody have to use Kajabi in our world? No. But do we know that Kajabi helps people set up a streamlined place to host their businesses? Yes, that's why we recommend it. That's why a lot of people come into Align CEO Method and go into Kajabi, because then they can follow the system of like, okay, I'm implementing this. This works. So the recipe is there. And then we offer like, take the recipe and try not to make too many changes and see what happens for you. But when we're like, I'll take this recipe, but I don't really want to commit to doing this thing, or I want to do it my own way. Well, we can't really predict what the results will be. We know what the results are when the recipe is followed, because we've followed it and our clients that have been with us for a really long time have followed it. And so that is our recommendation, is when you want to take your business seriously, look at like the people who are taking their business seriously. What are they doing? There's a process and a plan in place. And how can you, whether it's ours or somebody else's, follow a plan instead of being like, I'll listen to this free masterclass and I'll do this thing and I'll take this person's training and I'll pay you guys to be in your world, but then I'll go attend this thing. It's like, there's a lot out there and it can be really noisy.
And
Just
then they tell
pick
us, I'm
something.
confused. We're like, we know, we see you being confused.
Yeah, it's like we want to help with the confusion. Pick something, stick to it, rinse and repeat, test it, keep going through it that way. That is like Kayla and I use our own onboarding. Every time we create something, we go through like, okay, do we have this in place? Does this make sense? Have we reached out to people in this way? Are we setting up a launch plan this way? We don't make this stuff up and never use it. And we don't make it up and say it doesn't work. We create it based off of what has worked. And so I really want everybody to think about, if you were to walk away today, what are 3 to 5 things you can do in your business to take your business more seriously? 3 to 5 things. You don't have to answer right now. It can be something that you reflect on after this. And more seriously is totally defined by you. There's not a definition of serious business, I don't think. So it's like, what can you do? It's like, if you've been doing e-transfers, can you set up Stripe? If you've been
Take your business hours and plug them into your calendar.
Take your business hours, plug them into your calendar. If you've been like, I talk to people on Instagram, but I don't track any of my conversations, maybe it's time to track conversations to see how many leads do you actually have. Like somebody said to us on a mastermind this morning, she said, I started tracking the conversations I'm having on Instagram. She's like, and I actually have leads, but I've been telling myself a story I don't have leads because I haven't been tracking it. But when you take your business seriously and you have systems in place and you look at data, how many people are listening to your podcast? So when we say there's nobody to buy, well, if you have a podcast and even 10 people are listening to your podcast, that's 10 people who are listening to you. That's an offer can be made, a sale can be made. What are the little pieces that we can start to do to say, you know what, I get to take my business more seriously? Yeah. Okay.
Wow, today was fire.
Hmm.
We just made our own platform to talk about what we love to talk about the most, and here we are. I feel like it was 5 minutes. Okay.
Good job, Eileen. Yeah, it's not like, sometimes it's not always easy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is those challenging reach outs where it feels like trepidatious. It feels a little bit scary. Like, what is this person going to say? Or are they not going to say, or whatever it might be? And I just want to remind everybody, my like age-old mantra that gets me through life is the world will keep spinning. The world will absolutely keep spinning if I reach out to this person and they say fuck off. Like, the world will keep spinning. If I reach out to this person and they say, I don't want to work with you, you annoy me, the world will keep spinning. So let's just remember that the world will keep spinning.
Yeah. Yes, the world will keep spinning. I'm cheering about the chat, but yes, the world does keep spinning.
Mm-hmm.
My rejection wound is front and center. Oh yeah. Yeah. And yes. And I would say that while I'm not a psychologist and Nicole is our mindset chief leader, the rejection wound it does hurt when people say no, especially if you really want to work with them and have been we're cultivating them for a long time, working with them for a long time, let's say. And maybe it's not in fundraising. We always say they might say no, but you could take it as a not right now. It's always possible down the line. And when you separate out your business from yourself, then it's like they said no to this program I created. You did create it, but it's the program they're saying no to because it doesn't work for them. And it's not about you as a person. I know you know this, but in case it helps anyone, like I know you know this, Eileen, but in case it helps anyone, that's why we also another reason to do the separation.
One last reminder to that piece as well is we never know who's watching. Well, not never know. We don't always know who's watching if they're not raising their hand or liking or whatever. And you never know when people are going to turn around. We've had 2 new Align CEOs in the last 7 days who have been with us in our world for 4 years. For 4 years, we've been like,
They both have the first Manifesting Money Masterclass.
Yeah. And for 4 years, they've been like, it's not for me. I don't think I need this. Da, da, da. We didn't even, it wasn't, yeah, it was just like one of them just turned around and said, it's my time. And then another one was with us at retreat and she said, it's my time. And so we're like, holy shit. You just never know who's going to say yes 4 years later. So people are watching and they will say yes on their own time.
Yeah. You have to be consistent so people have something to say yes to. Yay, Nicole. Oh, Nicole. Nick Lee. Love you. Okay. Love to hear this in the chat. So encouraging. Okay, everyone. Tomorrow, more money mindset. And I love to see your posts on Instagram. Elevating the frequency of money tomorrow. We have a really fun NLP exercise for everyone. And what did you just say? You want to hear me say it again? I love you.
No, you said something that's quotable.
Oh, I don't know. I'm going on and on. I'm excited that Nicole's here. Does anyone remember?
It was before you said that last piece about what tomorrow was. Oh, okay. Whenever the recording gets hit, it was so good.
Okay.
You'll catch it.
Wait, Celia might have caught it. You have
Something
to be
about
consistent.
Yeah, but the way you said, you're right, but it was the way you said it.
So you have to keep going. Oh, so people have something to say yes to when it's their time.
Yeah, keep saying the same thing and be consistent so that, anyways.
Yes. Be the parrot. I said to somebody this morning, I want to be annoyed by how often I hear you talking about your business. I want to be like, oh my God, there she is talking about her business again. You know, the reason that so many people know of Amy Porterfield is because Amy Porterfield has been saying the same thing for 14 years.
Yeah.
And I said to Kayla, I know we are going to be the next generation of Amy Porterfields. I know that. I know in 14 years, people are going to be like, my aligned purpose, because we've literally never stopped talking about it. Just don't stop.
Okay. See you tomorrow for